This is Gene Krebs. I'm here today on behalf of the Center for Community Solutions, and we're interviewing Nora Balduff, who is the Director of Children and Senior Services here for the Ohio Association of Food Banks. I'm very happy to be able to have a chance to sit down and talk to you. Let's talk a little bit about, there's a section of this program we're calling Mythbusters. And so would you tell us something that everybody generally outside thinks is true, but you believe is not true, and you have some data to back that up? What would you suggest?
I mean, I really think the face of poverty and the face of hunger have changed. They've changed.
How so?
Well, dramatically over the recession, but leading up to the recession, it's been slowly coming to us for sure. So, I mean, we think of poverty as something that's very urban, or, you know, it's in the metropolitan areas, or it's in deep Appalachia. It's deep poverty. But we're also seeing huge changes in our suburbs and in surrounding counties. In typically affluent counties, we're seeing huge changes here in Ohio. 40% increase in the number of folks coming to suburban pantries in the Columbus suburbs. So Mid-Ohio Food Banks pantries are seeing huge increases. There was a 300% increase from one year to the next in the Worthington Food Pantry.
Worthington?
Worthington, right.
Worthington defines,
Yes.
first ring suburb,
Absolutely.
domesticality.
Absolutely, comfortable, stable. But, I mean, 2 weeks ago, I met with a couple of mothers from Westerville. They live in Westerville.
Which is another classic. We're talking earlier about it's where Ozzie and Harriet Nelson would live today.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, and meeting them, talking to them, they are Ozzie and Harriet. They look like Ozzie and Harriet. They are well presented, they're well educated. Both mothers have 4 boys, 4 very young boys, 2 to 10 years old. They're both married. They both work part-time. Their husbands work, but they are struggling. And I met them because their children needed to come to a summer food service program site in Westerville. Their children needed the Governor's Weekend Summer Backpack Program meals. So that's how I met them, because they couldn't feed their children. One mother said to me, I never used to understand this, Twinkies versus a bag of apples phenomenon, that I hear about. She had her own judgments, but she was there. She was getting change out of her car. She had so much change in her hand, and she had to decide what the snack was going to be. Was she going to spend that on a bag of apples, or was she going to get something cheaper that was going to tide people over until supper time? And so that was the decision that she had to make.
What did she choose?
She chose Twinkies. She really didn't have a decision. She didn't have a choice at that point. She had so much change. A bag of apples isn't going to fill her kids up. It's not going to last. She could buy a lot of Twinkies for what you could get for a bag of apples. A lot of Twinkies.
We're interviewing thought leaders, and in this case, a young, emerging thought leader in Nora Balduff, who is the Director of Children and Senior Services and Nutrition here for the Ohio Association of Food Banks. And Nora, I have a question that we're asking everybody in your situation. Once again, you are representing all young millennials with this, so the burden of your whole generation is upon you with this.
I'm sorry,
No
guys.
pressure.
Sorry,
no
guys.
pressure. No pressure. So the question is, what from a public policy perspective keeps you awake at night?
I mean, I feel that we're giving up our liberties. We're giving up our choices. In too many cases, we're doing the easy thing. We're being apathetic and saying, money is changing politics. There's all these powerful things that are changing public policy. We're looking at the federal government, at state government. We're not looking at local government. So we're giving up our voice in what matters to us, in the communities that we live in, the communities that we see, the people that we live with, our families, people who serve us food. I mean, this is our entire community, and we're not going to, we can't move forward without bringing everybody along with us. And so I think not paying attention, not pushing for information, not pushing for accountability. I just fear that that's something that we're absolutely giving up, and the price that we may pay is not something anybody should be prepared to pay. And it's not something we have to pay. I mean, this is America, you know. We have freedom of speech. We have the right to vote. We have the right to have our voices heard, and we can give that up and it can just go away. So that keeps me up at night, I think. Just that people aren't as involved as I feel like they need to be.